What is the scariest, strangest, most unexplainable thing that has happened to you while home alone? Was 17 years old, left alone from Thursday to Sunday with our family's dog, who was pretty small and starting to have trouble climbing stairs in his old age. I'd be working every morning while my parents were out of town. Came home from my shift on Friday and everything about the kitchen table was a mess. Napkins were taken out of the holder, all of the mail was thrown on the floor, salt and pepper shaker on the other side of the kitchen but together, and one of the chairs pulled far away from the table. Our dog's never done anything like this, and I'd be especially surprised if he was even capable of climbing on top of the table. I reset it all. Saturday, I come back to find the exact same configuration. Don't have the pictures anymore, but every detail was just as I found it the day before. Pretty much the entire night I'm convinced there's gonna be a ghost coming to get me, and I sleep horribly and barely rest for work on Sunday. I leave for work and make sure the place was orderly when I left, because I knew my parents would be back before I was out of work. When I go on my lunch break I call my mom and ask about all of the details from the past 2 days, and she just goes, yeah, why did you leave such a mess? She didn't get pictures, so I can't verify how similar the mess was, but regardless I can't believe my old dog would have done that for the details 3 consecutive days, and I don't even know if he was strong enough to move the chairs or climb on the table. Only time anything like this ever happened while I was left alone. Not home alone, but only one in right side of the house. Went to my mom's bathroom to wash my hands and saw a pair of feet behind the half open door. Laughed and said, very funny ma, I see you. Then finished up and left. Bumped into my mother in the kitchen unpacking. Nobody else was in the house. I'm glad whatever was behind the door didn't peek out. One night I had forgotten to lock my apartment door and woke up in the middle of the night. My bedroom door was about 2 feet from my front door as you walked into the apartment. First a big dog ran by, then a person. Holy shit, I was so scared, and I screeched, who is it? A man said, it's Doug. As I was thinking to myself, who the fuck is Doug? He said, oh shit. He turned around to go back out the front door saying sorry. I asked, didn't you have a dog with you? He said, oh yeah. Hey, come on. He left, his dog ran out after him, and I locked my front door. Edit. Glad you all thought this was funny, because I did too. Once my heart quit trying to beat right out of my chest. The next day the girls at work thought I was crazy for not being upset, but hey, done is done. Peace. Feo, this one made me laugh. I'm glad nothing bad happened to you. My brother, 12, and I, 14, were alone at home while our mom was away somewhere, probably away for work or SMTH. It was like 1 AM and it was raining like crazy. I was about to head to bed and I saw my brother had turned off his room's lights as well. I went to bed and fell asleep. My sleep was promptly interrupted by loud banging on glass. It was coming from our living room's glass door. I was scared a little, but decided to check. I opened my door a tiny bit. My room was straight across from the living room's glass door, and take a peek through our almost pitch black living room toward the glass door and spot someone on the other side of the glass standing in the pouring rain. I couldn't really make out what that person looked like, and I didn't really try to find out, as I immediately pulled myself backward to prevent him from seeing me. The banging didn't seem to stop, and it was mind-numbingly loud. It really felt like the glass was about crack at any moment. I got on my knees and hands and tried to crouch toward my brother's room, checking if he's okay. There were some chairs in the line of sight towards the floor, so while crouching it would have been hard to spot me. I got to my brother's room and opened it. He was terrified, sitting in his bed in the corner of the room. And just as I was about to grab the phone and call the police, the banging stopped. I decided not to call because I'm introverted AF, and I honestly was just really tired, so I went to sleep. To this day I do not know who that was. My sister and I were home alone, and we heard someone big running up the stairs. The stairs make lots of noise with slight pressure, so when there's someone big on them you can tell. I went out of my room to check, but saw no one anywhere, and my sister also came out of her room and she asked if that was me. I said no, and we both looked around to see if there was anyone but found no one in the whole house. We were confused and called our parents and just waited until they got back, and that was that. Not really home alone, but when I was little I remember as my dad was taking us to bed, I ran up first to sneak behind my bedroom door. The plan was to jump out and scare my brother before bed, as my bedroom was just opposite the bathroom, and he had to walk past it to get to his room. However, behind the bedroom door was two strange men hiding. One had a beard and long hair, the other I don't clearly remember, but think he was very skinny. The guy with long hair whispered to me to "go away," so I calmly went away and slept with my dad. Mum was working nights and this wasn't uncommon for me, so he never questioned it. I was rightly spooked and didn't want to be on my own, but didn't told my dad what I saw as I was petrified inside. Straight up thought I'd been told off by some creepy ghosts. We were odd that night. My brother also woke up that night to go to the bathroom and saw the downstairs light on from the staircase. At the time he thought it was our mother and would normally, if he got up early, run down and see her. For some reason he didn't go downstairs that night and instead hopped in bed with me and our dad too. When me mum came home the downstairs was trashed and she was terrified something happened to us. She ran upstairs in a panic and found us all in bed safe and sound. Home insurance was able to salvage most of the losses, and we got a dog not long after that as a deterrent for thieves, which growing up never had another issue again. So I guess not really unexplainable but strange/scary story. I managed to lock myself out of my house on my birthday during a tornado while trying to bring my cats to the basement for safety. I later found out that the tornado was approximately a couple miles or less from me at that exact time. The sky was green and it got weirdly calm, and then I could hear what sounded like a train coming before I found an unlocked window to climb through. Wild times. I wasn't home alone, but I was awake by myself one Saturday morning in the 80s when I was around 7 or so. I believe my mom was the only one home because my dad went to the lake to go fishing that weekend, and I'm not sure where my older brothers were. Maybe they went with him. IDK. Anyways, my mom's sleeping in and I'm in the living room by myself watching Saturday morning cartoons and making a fort out of sheets and cushions. Something made me turn around and I saw my dad in his pajamas standing in the hallway entrance with his hands on his hips, looking the mess I was making and shaking his head. He then turned around and walked into my room, which was just off the hallway entrance. Dude, I didn't even look. I just booked it to my parents' room and woke my mom up. I don't remember what happened after that. This was around 35 years ago. And yes, my dad was fine. Nothing had happened to him. Back in high school I'd usually be up all hours of the night playing games. I had a large dog at the time that would sleep in my room at night. It was 2 AM and I was finally headed to bed, but my dog wasn't with me, so I ventured out to find him. I made my way across the house to the kitchen/dining room combo. I'm standing in the only door frame that leads to that side of the house. We had an island in the kitchen with a stool that the junk mail was usually kept on. So I walk up, call for my dog, and see him walk from behind the island to behind the dining room table set, knocking all the junk mail down as he did so. I huff and flip on the light. No dog. I freak out, scramble back across the house, and end up finding him in my parents' room. I regale the story the next day to my parents and younger sister, who often claimed to see stuff in the house. My sister pipes up and goes, "Oh, that's the tall black thing. Yeah, sometimes it likes to crawl around on all fours." I got up in the middle of the night to pee and happened to glance out the window to my backyard to see a glowing yellow figure that looked like it was collecting soil samples from my backyard. I absolutely shat myself and bumped into the sink. The figure stopped what it was doing and looked at me. I bolted back to my room and woke my wife, but when we went back it was gone. Funny thing is I've told this story to other people and the wife of a friend of mine burst into tears and said she had seen the same thing when she was a child, but nobody believed her. People asking for more detail, it looked to be about 7 foot tall, as when it stood up it was well taller than my fence. I couldn't make out any detail because it was glowing so strongly and my adrenaline was pumping like crazy, and I live in very populated suburban Sydney. It was also between 2 to 3 AM. Also it was through a flyacre in an open window from upstairs bathroom. I can post a pic from my perspective if people are interested, and I can work out how to post it. I was at home by myself on a call with some friends when all of a sudden my dog begins to bark like crazy, which was odd, since it was the middle of the night and he's usually asleep. I go downstairs to check on him, and find him barking at our hall closet. Terrified, I grabbed my bat, that I keep in my room just in case, and opened the door. There was nothing out of usual at first, but then I look down, and notice a familiar looking object at the bottom of the closet. It was my mom's necklace she had lost when I was 9. I'm 15 now, just to put in perspective how long it's been. I showed it to my mom at breakfast, and she was just as shocked as I was. I still have no clue how it got there, or how my dog knew it was in there. Definitely one of the oddest occurrences of my life. I grew up in a very rural area. Our house was on the end of a dead-end road in the middle of Midwest farm country. In high school I was in cross country and track, and found it easiest to run in the late evenings on nights, when there wasn't practice. One night, which was fairly well lit by the moon, I was running the last quarter mile to my house and I saw someone else running toward me on the road from the direction of my house. I live on a dead-end road. There is nothing but farm fields behind it, and it definitely wasn't my mom running. It surprised me so much I stopped for a second to consider what I was seeing. I remember exactly what the runner was wearing, and I watched her run another 5 or 6 strides towards me before she disappeared or blended into the night like the predator or some such. Now it could have been exhaustion or dehydration, I guess, but I've run a lot farther and a lot longer than I did that night without seeing anyone materialize and evaporate. I never did again, either on that road or anywhere else. It was the scariest thing that ever happened to me. I ran home crying panic tears, and I'm not ashamed to tell you about it. I couldn't bring myself to run at night again for a month. When I was younger I used to live in this super old shitty house in the middle of the woods. There was a small clearing with an average sized yard and the rest was thick woods. One night I was walking up to our gate to go inside, and I seen a very tall figure looking in my bedroom window. My light was on, which was weird, since I hadn't been in there or turned it on, so I could see the figure with its face and hands pressed up against my window. Whatever or whoever it was must have heard me, because they looked in my direction before booking it to the back of the yard and presumably into the woods, since there was nowhere else to go and the backyard area wasn't fenced in. I never slept in that room again. Years ago, a few weeks after I moved into my now current apartment I'm still in, my one cat at the time woke me up in the middle of the night. Not sure why, but I then heard something, so I got up to investigate. Wandered my way down the hall into the kitchen to see that every single cupboard, 11 of them, top and bottom, were open. Like I'd open. Okay then, this is fine. I casually closed them and headed back to bed, probably hid under the covers till the morning lol. To this day, 11 years later I still have no idea what happened there, but I'm sure it was the building ghost saying hello and welcoming me to the place. There's been a couple other things that have happened here and still happen that I cannot explain, but I'm okay with it. I was in my college apartment and my roommate had just moved out. Her room was directly across from mine with the living room between us. I had cleaned out her room and then closed the door. I left my bedroom door open when I went to take a shower one night. My bathroom was connected to my bedroom. I also happened to leave the bathroom door open. While I was in the shower, I thought I heard a woman talking. I had never been able to hear my neighbors talking before, but figured they just happened to be talking in their bathroom which shared a wall or something. When I got out of the shower, I was surprised to see a black void when there should have been the bright white closed door of my old roommate's door reflecting in the moonlight. I figured I just forgot to close the door and went and closed it. The next night I once again went to take a shower and left my room and the bathroom door open. But this time I checked to make sure the other door was latched and the front door was double locked. When I came back out I once again saw the void with the door wide open. I slammed my door closed and locked that shit so fast. I convinced myself there was a logical explanation, so the next night I once again checked all of the doors and then closed my bedroom door. This time, I came out of the shower and my bedroom door was open along with the other door. I showered and slept with my bedroom door locked from that point on. I guess this took place over several nights home alone, and I may not have even been alone. Still the creepiest thing that ever happened though. The end. Thanks for watching.